Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today the topic of my presentation is International Labor Laws and Workplace Safety Guidelines, and I am presenting it under supervision of my professor Dr. Saira Afzal. Learning outlines Introduction to International Labor Law Sources, Labor International Labor Organization, International Labor Standards, International Labor Organization in Pakistan, and General Guidelines on Occupational Safety and Health by OIC. Learning outcomes. At the end of the presentation, participants will be able to describe the international labor laws, their implementation in Pakistan, and the safety and health for the employees and how they affect their performance. International labor law. It is the body of rules spanning public and private international law which concern the rights and duties of employers, trade unions, and governments in regulating the workplace. Its definition is that it is defined as the set of rules which apply through public international law, that is the law between different countries or states, and private international law, that is the law between individuals or business who live or operate in different countries. It is sometimes also it includes a comparative law, that is legal principle as they apply across different countries. Labor law. The adoption of labor laws and regulations is an important means of implementing ILO standards, promoting the ILO declaration and the fundamental principles and rights at work, and putting the concept of decent work into practice. International Labour Organization. Labor laws are set by the International Labour Organization and must be voluntarily adopted by signatory countries to become part of the law. They include such matters as prohibitions on slavery and child labor. The main aims of the International Labour Organization are to promote rights at work, encourage decent employment opportunities, enhance social protection, and strengthen dialogue on work-related issues. International Labour Organization, it is a tripartite body. That is, it consists of representative of employer, labor, and government. Until now, 183 nations are members of it. Fundamental principles: labor is not a commodity. Freedom of expression and association is essential. Poverty acts as a danger for prosperity. War against want requires to be carried on. Workers and employers should enjoy equal status in free discussion. Now, the structure of the ILO consists of three bodies, that is International Labour Conference, governing body, and the last International Labour Office. International Labour Conference examines social problems, adopts convention for ratification by government. It is the electoral college of the conference that elects the government body. And the governing body consists of representatives of the governments, employers, workers in the ratio of 2:1:1. Tripartite structure of the ILO. It is unique in the UN system in which employers, workers, and workers' representatives, that is the social partners, have an equal voice with those of government in shaping its policies and programs. International labor standards. It is aimed at promoting opportunities for women and men to obtain decent and productive work in conditions of freedom, equity, security, and dignity. Essential component in the international framework for ensuring that the growth of the global economy provides benefits to all. Regional labor standards. It is another form of international labor law, is the set of rules that applies across a selected group of countries. The most prominent example is European labor law, which sets standards applying across the European Union. Rights for employees under European labor law include freedom of association and the right to organize, right to collective bargaining, right to strike, no child labor, a set of minimum labor standards relating to matters such as wages, hours, and conditions of employment, equal pay for equal work, health and safety protections, workers' compensation, and protections for migrant workers. Principles of labor law in all countries. In addition to laws which have international reach, such as ILO standards and European Union laws, there are various general principles that need to be considered in each country that expand into employee contracts, minimum wage, employee termination, payroll obligations, employee benefits like healthcare costs, workers' compensation, pensions, unemployment insurance, incomes conventions, and recommendations. Conventions are protocols which are legally binding international treaties that may be ratified by member states. A convention lays down the basic principles to be implemented by ratifying countries. Recommendations which serve as non-binding guidelines. A related recommendation supplements the convention by providing more detailed guidelines on how it could be applied. The eight fundamental conventions are freedom of association and protection of the right to organize convention, right to organize in collective bargaining convention, forced labor convention, abolition of forced labor convention, minimum age convention, worst forms of child labor convention, equal remuneration convention, and the last is discrimination convention. Governance or priority conventions. Encouraging member states to ratify them because of the importance of the functioning of international labor standards system. The four governance conventions are Labor Inspection Convention, Employment Policy Convention, Labor Inspection Convention, Tripartite Consultation Convention. Now, how international labor standards are created? By ratification of conventions and protocols, universality and flexibility, updating international labor standards review mechanism. The benefits of international labor standards, apart to full and productive employment and decent work for all, the 2030 goals. Wellness in the workplace improves employee health and improves an organization's bottom line. An international legal framework for fair and stable globalization. Level playing field, a means of improving economic performance. Safety net in times of economic crisis, a strategy for reducing poverty, the sum of international experience and knowledge. How international labor standards are used by models and targets for labor law, sources of international law applied at the national level, guidelines for social policy, other areas of influence, corporate social responsibility, the promotion of inclusive, responsible, and sustainable practices in the workplace, free trade agreements, civil society, the role of employers and workers' organizations. International Labour Organization, Pakistan. Child abuse. Decent Work Country Program is providing technical assistance to the government of Pakistan, the employers and workers organization to progressively eliminate the worst forms of child and bonded labor in the rural economy. Employment promotion in Pakistan. The Decent Work Country Program emphasizes on the following strategies, for example, support skills development, support enterprise development and self-employment opportunities through training, support apprenticeship and recognition of prior learning, strengthen the capacity of labor departments to address labor market issues. Equality and discrimination in Pakistan, creating equal employment opportunities for youth and disadvantaged women and men through inclusive and gender-responsive skills, employment, and enterprise development programs, tools for gender-responsive value chain analysis and improve the quality and quantity of women's participation in agricultural value chain. In jobs in Pakistan, the transformation of economy is sustainable, low-carbon economy providing decent work. It promotes the concept of green jobs in three sectors, including construction, tourism, and energy. Informal economy in Pakistan. The Labor Force Survey 2017 to 18 states that the informal sector accounts for 71.7% of the employment in main jobs outside agriculture, more in rural areas, that is 75.6%, than in urban areas, which is 68%. The Decent Work Country Program has its focus on promoting decent work in rural economy. Then comes international labor standards in Pakistan. The government of Pakistan has ratified 36 ILO conventions, including 8 fundamental conventions as of now. Further, the Constitution Act 2010 substantially changed the roles and responsibilities of the federal and provincial governments, including the devolution of labor administration to the provinces. Labor market governance and working conditions in Pakistan. Pakistan has ratified two important governance conventions, namely Labor Inspection Convention and Tripartite Consultation Convention. It provides a strong foundation for the development of an effective labor inspection system. Predominantly, labor administration is devolved to the provincial governments in Pakistan. Labor migration in Pakistan. As of December 2019, more than 11 million Pakistanis have proceeded abroad for employment to over 50 countries through official procedures. The migration of Pakistani worker is mostly concentrated to Gulf Cooperation Council countries, with Saudi Arabia and UAE hosting the majority. Safety and health at work in Pakistan. ILO reports 2.2 million people die every year due to work related accidents or illness. More than 270 million workers are injured, and estimated 160 million suffer work related illness. The DWCP focuses on the development and implementation of occupational safety and health mechanism for vulnerable categories of workers in the rural economy, such as agriculture, fisheries, and domestic work. Social Security in Pakistan, SARS program in 2019, Labor Welfare and Social Protection Expert Program, which developed a comprehensive program of Mazdoor Ka Ehsaas with particular focus on informal excluded segments of workers in social protection. The most disadvantaged groups such as poor women, the elderly, disabled people, and migrant workers. Workers and employers organizations in Pakistan, technical assistance to the employer organization and worker organization in Pakistan, including to its core constituents, namely Employers Federation of Pakistan and Pakistan Workers Federation, effective and innovative use of social media and creation of online groups of workers and employees help fast dissemination of critical information COVID-19. Organization of the Islamic Cooperation. These are the general guidelines on occupational safety and health. Now, OIC is an international organization founded in 1969 consisting of 57 member states, 49 countries being Muslim majority countries. The scope of guidelines. Scope of guidelines to standardize the occupational safety and health level in all OIC countries. This guideline shall apply to all sectors of activity, both public and private. In that, even the safety and health of workers of OIC members must be ensured as far as possible. Physical factors. Risk hierarchy shall primarily be applied in workplaces. Besides, the employer shall take the precaution as follows. Machines or workbenches shall be maintained at regular intervals. Employees exposed to physical risks at workplace shall be trained, and information resulting from these risks should be communicated. Training shall include in particular the nature of such risks. The measures taken to eliminate or reduce to a minimum the risks include the circumstances in which the measures apply, exposure limit values of national legislation, the correct use of personal protective equipments, why and how to detect and report symptoms of health effects of physical risk factor exposure, the circumstances in which employees are entitled to health surveillance and the purpose of health surveillance. Noise. It can be tackled as sound absorbing materials. The distance between the noise source and the person exposed shall be increased. Noisy machinery shall be enclosed as far as practically reasonable. Proper maintenance of machines and equipment on a regular basis. Hearing protection device to minimize adverse effects of the noise. Vibration. In this context, proper working schedule using less vibration equipment and adequate rest shall be planned and applied. Thermal comfort. Devices used for heating and cooling shall be placed appropriately, maintained, and checked regularly. In case of working continuously in extremely hot or cold environments, and windows and roof lights avoid the negative effects of sunlight that should be provided. Adequate exchange of air appropriate to the task and environmental conditions shall be provided. Illumination. In this context, workplaces shall be illuminated sufficiently by daylight. In cases which beneficiation from daylight is not possible or during night work, artificial light shall be provided for adequate lighting. Dust. Water shall be placed at places where dust is released, that is aqueous working wet method. Proper ventilation control equipment shall be provided. Appropriate PPE should be provided. Pre-employment and periodic medical examination of employees shall be done. Ventilation. For the environments where works emitting dust, mist, and fume are carried out, chimneys and air vents of capability to extract those shall be provided. At the workplaces where suffocating, toxic or irritating gas and smoke arising, ventilation installations shall be designed to protect the health of employees, and masks and other protective equipment shall be provided. Radiation. Radioactive substances shall be labeled as attention radioactive substance, labeled with radiation symbol. Workplaces adequately ventilated and shielded. Radioactive waste shall be collected with impermeable waste collector and kept in lockable cabinets or rooms. Only authorized staff is allowed to work. All employees provided with appropriate radiation monitors, appropriate PPE, as well as undergo regular periodic medical examinations. Emergency. In this plan, probable emergencies, preventive and restrictive measures shall be taken. Emergency response methods, evacuation plans that are prepared to be hung on different locations in the workplace. Emergency teams and drill forms shall be involved. Conclusion. In any global expansion, complying with international labor laws as well as local labor laws is crucial. A failure to do so can lead to enforcement action from regulators, legal action from employees, and a significant dent to the company's reputation. Throughout the international expansion, enterprises need to consider the application of international labor standards as well as region and country specific rules relating to employment contracts, termination, and other minimum standards. Now, moving on to recent updates. This is an editorial published recently in the newspaper about labor issues in Pakistan. Labor rights are not being effectively enforced according to the International Labor Conventions due to an increase in employment as well as slow economic growth. There is presence of bonded and child labor, environment of wage inequality, women earn relatively less, work conditions are unsafe and collective bargaining is quite weak. Women face harassment in workplaces. There is also unfair labor in Pakistan in form of bonded workers who are estimated to be around 2 million. In terms of the way forward, there is need to ensure occupational safety and health. About 3.5% workers report some kind of occupational injury or disease. Agriculture and construction work are considered most hazardous. The systematic review on occupational health and safety performance in high-rise building projects in Pakistan. According to it, construction industry is a prominent accident-prone industry where laborers generally work in an unsafe environment. These projects suffer from fatal and non-fatal accidents as labor health and security are not a prime aim in the construction industry despite all employees still dealing with safety issues. Update and enforce safety laws at the workplace to enrich occupational health and safety conditions in the Pakistani construction sector. Government must act as against the opposing labor and trade unions that hinder the changes in the existing legislation. Now, time for MCQs. MCQ number 1. The International Labour Organization is a UN agency whose mandate is to advance social and economic justice by setting international labor standards. Why is International Labour Organization different from other UN organizations? It is representative of employees and government officials take part. Representative of employers, employees, and government officials take part in work. UNO officials and employees work together. Representatives of NGOs and private firms take part in work. Representatives of employees and NGOs take part in work.
B.
Yes, B is the right option. MCQ number 2. Pakistan has been an important active member of ILO since 1947, has ratified 36 ILO conventions, including all 8 fundamental conventions. In Pakistan, ILO overarching goal is employment, high wages, education, decent work, justice. Any idea? It is D, decent work. MCQ number 3. It is important to be aware of the different types of hazards to look for on the job, both obvious and hidden ones. The person getting the job have the right to know the hazards in his job from employer or supervisor must provide you with the information you need to work safely. Your family members provide you the information. You receive information from social media or from the interview panel.
A.
Yes, A is the right option. MCQ number 4. Where would you go if your fire alarm was activated during the working hours in the closed industrial building? To manager's office, to the fire assembly point, exit the building, assemble at some distant area, wait near the exit area for other employees, sit at your place patiently. C is the right option. MCQ number 5. A group of factory workers are being examined as a part of their 6 monthly checkup as few workers started showing symptoms of illness after exposure to a new product used in factory for cleaning purpose. What is the best way of limiting exposure to these toxic substances? By always having the same person work with the toxic substance, by using another non-toxic substance, by training employees in working with toxic substance, or by using workers to come in shifts throughout the week.
B. B.
Yes, B is the right option. MCQ number 6, the program that is designed to improve health problems of the employees before they even arise is called health promotion, safety promotion, wellness promotion, ergonomics, or social safety.
B.
C is the right option, wellness promotion. MCQ number 7, Mr. Khan is currently working in a factory that deals in making heavy machinery and car spare parts. He's exposed to loud noises a lot. The most effective way to prevent hearing loss at work is to monitor your hearing loss over time with routine hearing tests. Always wear ear protection everywhere you go. Monitor noise levels through engineering and administrative controls to minimize overexposure. Maintain some distance from noise producing machines. Placement of sound absorbing materials.
C.
Yes, C is the right option. MCQ number 8, the ongoing globalization in the country needs reforms in our labor laws. The forces oppose changes in the existing labor legislation is government, labor and trade unions, employers associations, Human Rights Commission, International Labor Organization.
E.
No, B. B is the right option. CQ number 9. Decent Work Country Program is providing technical assistance to the government of Pakistan, the employers, and the workers' organization to progressively eliminate the worst form of dash labor in the rural economy. Woman labor, old age labor, disabled labor, child labor, unskilled labor.
D.
It is C. Sorry, D. Child labor, yes. MCQ number 10, Ireland, Pakistan works with the UN non-governmental and civil society organization to contribute to national economic and social development objectives and international commitments such as sustainable development goals. All of the following are aims of ILO except prohibition of child labor, promotion of occupational health, social security, early marriage protection, women workers' rights.
D.
Oh, it is D. D is the right option. This is the key of MCQs. This is the YouTube link of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.